So the first thing you're going to do is set them equal to each other. So I'm going to take we're going to use substitution. And I'm going to take x squared plus 2x plus 7, set it equal to 6x plus 3. And then the second thing you're going to do is set the function equal to 0 and factor. So in order to set it equal to 0, we're going to subtract the 6x from 2x and subtract the 3 from 7. So that's going to give us x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 0. So let's go ahead and factor that down. So in order to factor it down, we need to find two numbers that multiply to be 4 and add to negative 4. So I'm going to give you a moment to try to think about what are those two numbers. They multiply to be 1 times 4, which is 4, and they add to be negative 4. Okay, you know the number? Yeah. So those numbers would be negative 2 and negative 2. So go ahead and put that in the other two squares. And now we're going to take out our GCF. So our GCF of the first row is just x. The second row has a GCF of negative 2. The first column is x, and the second column is x minus 2. So this factors down to x minus 2 times x minus 2. That's the factors. So notice how it's the same factor. So when I factored it down, I really just got one factor, the same factor twice. So when you set it equal to 0, you get x equals 2. So because this is the same, this tells me that I only have one solution. Because remember from yesterday, we learned that we can have two solutions, one solution, or no solution. So this is an example of only having one solution. So now let's find our y value. So in order to find the y value, we need to substitute into one of these equations. Now, I don't want to deal with this first one because that has an exponent in it, so I'm going to use the second one. So go ahead, take your calculators out. I'm going to use y equals 6x plus 2, so y equals 6 times 2 plus 3. If you need a calculator, we have calculators on the table off to the side. So when you type that in your calculator, 6 times 2 plus 3, you get y equals 15. Good. So your solution is 2, 15. And that is how you're going to do that. And we're going to practice that again. So what we did is we set it equal to each other. So we could set it equal to 0 factor. And because we got the same factor, we only had one solution. Because these two are exactly the same. So let's practice again. Let's look at the next one. So let's do the same thing with number 1. So we're going to start by setting them equal to each other. So when I set it equal to each other, before I can do that though, I need to add the 10x. So that would be y equals 10x plus 5. So now you're ready to set them equal to each other. So let's set these equal to each other. And we get x squared plus 7x plus 5 equals 10x plus 5. You don't have to take notes, but you can have your head down. So now we're going to set it equal to 0. So what we're going to do is subtract the 10x from 7x. And then we're going to subtract the 5 from 5. So that gives you x squared minus 3x equals 0. So the only thing we can do is take out our GCF. So what would be my GCF for this quadratic? What do they both have that I can take out? An x. Good. So let's take out the x. So that gives me x times x minus 3. So we're going to set these both equal to 0. So x equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. So this one is different because we will actually have 2 answers. This one is already solved. We don't have to do anything with that. X equals 0 is our answer. But we have to solve this one. How do I solve this? Add the 3. And when you add 3, you get x equals 3. Okay, so we're almost there. So now let's go ahead and find our y. So for my first solution, so we have 2 solutions. So for my first solution, x is 0. X is 0. Go ahead and substitute a 0 in here to get y. So use your calculators, pick it up if you need to. Take 10 times 0 plus 5. So 10 times 0 plus 5 is 5, so that would be my first solution. For my second solution, x is 3. Substitute in a 3. 10 times 3 plus 5. No, I think you got it right. 10 times 3 plus 5, what's that? 35. So that would be your two solutions. That's it. That's all that's to it. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. So again, just to recap, set them equal to each other, solve it. When you get your two x's, substitute those x's into one of the equations to get y. All right, last one. Let's look at number 2. So the first thing we need to do is take this 4x minus y. So we're going to subtract the 4x. So negative y equals negative 4x plus 8. And then we have to get rid of that negative. So in order to get rid of the negative, we have to divide everything by negative 1. So we get y equals 4x minus 8. So now, set this 4x minus 8 equal to your second quadratic, and then we're going to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to take this 4x minus 8, substitute it in here for y. So we're going to set them equal to each other. Go ahead, set it equal to 0. This is homework 5, by the way. So you have 0 equals x squared minus 12x plus 20. Yep. So what we need to do is we need to find two numbers that multiply to be 20 and add to negative 12. So I need two numbers that multiply to be 20 and add to negative 12. So just give me a thumbs up if you know my numbers. I'm not going to call on you. I just want to see how many of you all know the numbers. All right, that's good. So I'll give you another 60 seconds to think about numbers. Okay. It's okay. That's true. He did. He did get his credit. Okay, so what would be my two numbers? Negative and negative 2. Good. Negative 10 times negative 2 is 20. And negative 10 plus negative 2 is negative 12. So let's go ahead and put our negative 10x and our negative 2x. So we have to, let me switch to, okay. So we have x and x. So my GCF in this column would be negative 10. And the GCF in this bottom row is negative 2. So, got to give myself some space, hold on. Go ahead, set both of those equal to 0. So take x minus 2. If x minus 2 equals 0, then x equals 2. Now take your calculators and substitute that 2. I didn't mean to erase that second equation. Sorry, let me write it up here. So we have y equals 4x minus 8. So go ahead, use your calculator, substitute 2 into this equation to get y. So that would be 4 times 2 minus 8. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. So 2, 0 would be your first solution. Right here. That's my first solution. So for my second solution, we're going to use this x minus 10. Go ahead, take the x minus 10. We get x equals 10. Use your calculators again. Take that 10. Put it in here. And we get 4 times 10 is 40. And 40 minus 8 is 32. So at this point, we have finished everything through homework 5. Take out your devices because you have 24 minutes. So, and I am here to answer questions over homework. Your first test is open notes. So I recommend, now that you all have your Agile Mind book, that you go back and listen to the recording starting from January 5th so you can start filling in your notes. So you can use your notes on your first test, okay?